Hello ladies and gents. To print out your card artwork, make sure you've opened up your A4 print page. I've got two here. I've got the front of the cards and I've got the back of the cards here. So we're going to print out both of these pages, but in this example I'm just going to print out one to keep it short. You need to go to File, Print, and then you'll get the Photoshop print settings screen. You can scroll down in this toolbar and you want to make sure where it says scaled print size and then scale, in this box we've got 100% because we want to print it out using the exact same measurements that we set up in the document itself. So if I click scale to fit media, it actually makes it a little bit smaller, so we don't want that. So you need to see 100% here and no check mark in that box. With that, you just move on to hit print and then select the printer you want to print to. So right now my printer is set to the design printer in room C204, but if you want to print to the library, you'll pick SP2 MS-US library, and then you can print the number of copies. So if I'm just going to print one copy of this, I'll just put 1 in copies and then hit print. You'll have a little message here saying the image is larger than the printable area. Don't worry about that, it will print out okay on A4 paper, so just hit proceed. Once that's done, you can make your way to the printer and go and get your paper off the printer. Hello ladies and gents, in this video I'm going to show you how to cut out game cards from the print that you made in Photoshop. So to do this you are going to need a few things. You are going to need the front and back of your card in the A4 print template, so you need to print those out. Now if your cards are all the same colour, so mine have different colour borders, you can just put them together and you'll be good to go. But if, like me, you have different coloured backs and different coloured fronts, you need to make sure that they all line up so that when you turn them over, they actually match. So just be aware of that. So you'll need your printouts, you'll need a piece of cardstock. This is going to give the card some thickness so it feels a bit more professional and tactile, like a real playing card. You're going to need to cover your table. Use some paper, some scrap paper that I've just taped together, or a table cover, because we're going to be gluing and we don't want to get glue on the table and ruin the table. You're also going to need a can of spray glue, a corner cutter and a paper cutter. Right, so let's get started. What we need to do first is take the cardstock, put it down on the table, take your printout, and you're going to try your very best to line this up perfectly over the cardstock, like that. And then either get a partner or just yourself, use one hand to hold half of the paper in place, and then fold over just gently the other side of the printout, so we've just got the cardstock exposed. Pop the lid off your spray glue, give it a little shake, and you're going to spray this from about 12 inches or 20 centimeters away from the paper, and you use this very sparingly. It's not body spray, so we don't need to soak the paper. The card doesn't need to be drenched in glue, so just a light spray like that. Okay, that'll do, that's enough. Give it one more bit there, and then you can just gently stroke the paper back over the cardstock. Now with that stuck in place, now we can kind of just fold over this side and glue the other side. So a few more light sprays like that, and then just stroke that over like that. And then you can pick that up off your table, and there we've got the first piece attached to the cardstock. Now, if you haven't lined up the paper perfectly, on the cardstock you can see a little sliver of white. That's okay, don't worry about that. What I'm going to do is just move this table cover out of the way, just so I've got a bit of colour contrast with the paper and the table. I'm going to get my other printout. I'm just going to make sure There's the purple side. There's the purple side. So those line up. And I'm just going to try and get the white paper, the printout, to line up perfectly with the other printout. Okay, there we go, I'm happy with that. So now I'm just going to slide this back onto the table cover, and it's the same process. I'm just going to hold this in place with one hand, just gently curve that over, give that bit of cardstock a little light bit of glue, stroke that over, and then do the same thing for the other side. Give that a quick spray, stroke that over, and now you can lift that off the table and you've got your template ready for cutting. So the next step is to go to the paper cutter. And you want to be very careful with this. This blade is big and sharp. It cuts through paper and it cuts through your fingers. So be careful when you use it. It's not a toy. Make sure that you are thinking about safety when you're using the paper cutter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up these crosses, and I've used the printout with the bleed, trim and safe zone lines on just so we can see it in this example. But really what you'd do is you'd have it without the coloured lines on. But if you really struggle, you can always use this. You'll just have to see it on the card. So I'm going to line up the crosses that are in line with the trim, the blue trim line there. So I'm not cutting the first set here because that doesn't line up with the trim this way. That cross lines up with that blue trim all the way down to that cross there. And if you don't get it perfectly on the trim, that's okay. It's better to cut off too little and have to do it again than cut off too much and then have to start all over again. So that looks good. So I'll bring that down. There we go. I'm happy with that. But you can see I didn't quite get the line there. So I'll just move that along a little bit. Give it another go. Okay. And then I'm going to spin the card round, and I'll just do that on the other side, like that. Okay, I did a good job there. So you can see now I've got no guides here and here for the blue trim. So what I can do instead is I can use these. So I'll just try and line that blue trim up. And this is what I'll be cutting through here and here. So we're following the blue trim line. There we go. Didn't quite meet those crosses there. So I'll just slide it through a little bit more. Until you're happy with your cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off the bottom here. So again, I'm following that blue trim. So you can see now I've got this red border around, and I'm going to follow the blue trim here. Like that. Okay, so now I'm left with these two cards. Obviously, there are no crosses to guide me anymore, so I'm gonna have to be really careful with this cut and try and be accurate. So I'm gonna slide this under, and there's the blue trim here. I'm going to cut that card. There we go. And then I'll do it again for this one. All right, there we go. So now I've got two copies of card number one. They all have the border around them, so they're okay. And what I'm going to do is take the corner cutter, and on the corner cutter you'll see we've got large, medium and small corners. So if you want a very tight corner, use small, and if you want a very gently curved corner, use the large. So we're just going to put this in the corner cutter and then hit it. Give it another go there. There we go. Pop it in again. Do each corner. If it doesn't cut through the first time, give it another go. There we go. So now I've got a complete card that I've cut out using the paper cutter, and it's all nice and glued, and it's thick. It feels like playing cards. So you can actually stack these up, shuffle and throw them around. There we go. So that's how you make your game cards using your printouts, spray glue, a paper cutter, and your corner cutter. That's it. All right, so print out your sheets and give it a go yourself.